Hi everyone, Ashley here. Just wanted to do a quick video on a I think it's really exciting new feature in Zoho Projects. For some reason, it's kind of gone under the radar. Just what basically happened was I was getting ready for the new year. I went into Zoho Projects, I clicked on the settings and I got a pop-up, which often happens when there's new features, and it just basically said that they've merged together the web tabs settings and the module settings. So your modules would be like your tasks, your time logs, I guess, all of those kind of things, bugs. They've merged them together, and it just said for a better user experience. And I just thought, that's strange. Okay, that's quite a minor change to make. I wonder who asked for that. I wonder why that was prioritized over other things. But then when I looked at the settings, so I'm going to go here now to customization. So here we've got that modules and tabs setting where it's all been combined. I noticed this create button. So in the past, obviously we could create web tabs, which allow you to embed external web pages into your Zoho projects. But now when you click on that, you can also create a custom module. So this is the exciting bit. And I can't believe that it's not on any of the announcements yet, or it's not, but basically that Zoho aren't just shouting about this, but maybe it's just because of the new year, people aren't just quite back to work yet, and we're going to hear about this in the next couple of days. But anyway, so if I click new, I've got the option here to create a module, call it whatever I want. So I'm just going to call this one, well, actually I've already created one called changes. So I might call this something like issues. And if I click the little icon next to it, they've actually given you some ideas here about what types of things you could use this for. And I guess this is from feedback they've probably had as well. So we've got here actions, activities, inventory, some of these things, deliverables, that could be a good one, key deliverables, change requests, we've got RFIs, we've got goals, OKRs, we've got risks. This is one, like, straight away for me, the obvious one here was changes, because a lot of people use the bugs feature in Zoho Projects to manage changes, but it's just not a great experience. It's not what it's designed for. It's kind of cluttered with other fields and other features that you don't need. And this allows you to just add exactly the fields you need for your, let's say in this case, if for your change process. When I worked as a project manager in the past, we'd have a change log, but we'd also have what we called a RAID log, which was the risks, issues, dependencies, and assumptions. So that's another thing that I could see us using this for, is to document that. Something that comes up a lot for me, which I've been trying to look at a solution for in Zoho Creator, is recording customer decisions, because sometimes you will, for me anyway, as a consultant, I will suggest things to customers, or I would advise customers to go in a certain direction with a project. And sometimes it's not easy to say why. It's just based on my experience, knowing that something's not going to work. But the customer, for whatever the reason is, the customer decides, no, they don't want to do that. They want to do it their way, and they don't want to take my advice. And that's fine if the customer wants to do it a certain way, or wants something done a certain way, as long as I highlight the risks to them. Now I can also use this to create a kind of a decision log, or a client decision log, where I can document those decisions that the clients are making, where they're kind of overruling my suggestions. So like, there's so many possibilities, honestly. If you just look at this list, they've given loads of great ideas. Employee management. I saw something as well about materials. Look, your imagination is the limit of this. Obviously, you can see I'm quite excited. I'm such a nerd about this kind of thing, but I just think it's going to be great. So I'm just going to do an example. I've called this issues. Let's just pick. I'm just going to do this icon here. You can choose whether it's at the organization level. So if it's just tasks, tasks. I'm calling them tasks. Let's just call them records. So whether it's records, information, let's say, that you need to track at a business level rather than at a project level. I think we're kind of getting a little bit into the realms of Monday.com here. I haven't really had a lot of time to experiment with this, but if we can create records at an organization level that aren't linked to a project, then we can just create lists just like you would create a board in Monday. Essentially, that seems to be what you can do here. So I maybe will come back with another video about this once I've had more time to play around with it. But the project module is the one that I have played around with so far. This means that you create a project module, it appears on all of your projects, or the projects. You can actually decide which projects it's going to show up on as well. So you can have it so it doesn't show up on every project. You can decide whether it shows up in your global list, and I'll mention that in a second. And then, yeah, here I can say which project specifically, and then I'm just going to click next. Module name already exists, so let's just change this to something else like RAID. We used to do a RAID log, or I could have said client decisions. Now we're in basically the form builder, so I can drag and drop the fields that I need here. I can choose the permissions. You can see at the top of the screen there, permissions. And once I'm ready, I can just click to change this to published or active. And then I can close this down. And when I go back to my projects, I'm just going to click on projects here. And I'm going to click on just a generic out of the box project. On this list of on this menu at the top of the screen, if I click the three dots now, I can also choose changes or RAID. And just like that, I can create a new one. Just call it test. I can open it just the same way that I could open the other, tasks, issues, whatever we've got. And it works in much the same way. So just your imagination is the limit here. I don't know if there's limits to how many custom modules you can have at the moment, but it is really, for a project management application, I would say that this is really up there with things that this app needed. I mentioned the global view as well. So on the left hand side here, we've got the overview, and we've got tasks, changes, RAID, time logs. This basically just lets you click on these options and see all of those records across every project. Whereas when you're actually in a project, so on the right hand side here, I'm in this specific project. I've chosen in this case, the changes menu, and I'm only going to see changes that relate to that project. But if I come over here to the overview section, they might rename that to global, who knows, make more sense. Then I would see all of the changes across all my projects and which project they belong to. So I hope that's interesting for you. If you've got any questions, if you want to share as well how you're going to use this, I'd really like to hear that. And until next time, I'll see you in the next one.